news, and I am live eventually. And yep, yet again, I put the time in, and it is um an hour off. I just so happen to look, and I'm saying, okay, people are waiting, cool. But then I start reading the comments. Hello, Kurt just popped in to say hi. See you in 22 minutes. Okay. When you all jump on this live, hit the like button. Cool. Appreciate you, Mama Lou. I'm back. You're a few minutes late. Well, here's the thing, man. It is what it is. I am here now. Let's talk about some boxing. This is what time is it anyway? Okay, yeah, it's supposed to have been at 12, not 11. It's supposed to have been noon, not 11. But anyway, um, all well and good, pretty good. Bill Keaveney in the building. We got the camaraderie in the trenches, people. That's what I love, the camaraderie. So Eubank is naturally bigger. Yeah, he's naturally bigger. He's fought in a different weight class, most of his career. Anis Amara, big up, counterpunch to you. How we doing, peeps? How we doing? Let's hit that like button, and I appreciate you guys doing so. Man, I had like some crucial some crucial rest, man. Had a splitting headache yesterday, but man, I feel 100% better today. Um, the new thing is, man, I'm going to start the poll on the first topic of discussion today. Okay. So we have to talk about light heavyweights. And, okay, let's go. Cool. Here we go, guys. Boom. Bill Keaveney being blessed with rest. Absolutely. Absolutely, man. I don't know how many I did yesterday, to be fair. I think I did 4, 5. And when I say yesterday, I always do my videos the day before. Sometimes I can get them in the same day, but, I like to space them out, spread the love around. So yeah, that's what I do actually. Quad life in the building. Kurt, CP to you, bro. Appreciate you, brother. Yeah, man. So yeah, we need to vote on this because there's a big uproar because we got the Benavidians. They are saying that people keep ducking David Benavidez, and I want to give you guys a breakdown of David Benavidez and Bivol. Well, first of all, those guys used to spar together. They used to spar, and obviously they had some good sparring sessions. Sessions are very detailed. But when you talk about, hey, I got the best of someone in sparring, you can take a snippet, a section of 15 seconds, 20 seconds, 10 seconds, whatever seconds to show like, hey, this is me showing that I got the best of this person. Well, if you've sparred 18 rounds, 24 rounds, 36 rounds, a few weeks, if you sparred somebody in that amount of time, how would it make sense or why would it be fair for you to show someone 10 seconds of you putting a combination together on someone that you've sparred with that long? I think what people need to understand about sparring is actually the bulk of your punishment. You're going to spar more than you're going to do anything else, I hope. I mean, if you're any good, you're not, the amount of fights you've had in the ring should never compare to the amount of sparring you have. It should never spare you. It should never compare. So, in other words, if you're fighting for the heavyweight championship or the light heavyweight championship or a 12-round fight championship wise, right? You want to spar 3 or 4 times that to prepare for that, to see how well you do, to see if you can make it to the 12 round limit. You don't think that people just hope and wish they make it to 12 rounds without sparring 12 rounds. They have to do a lot more than that. Okay. You know what I'm saying? Like the status quo is a lot of people like to do 3 to 5 times more than 12 rounds. So really, they want to do 12 rounds at least 4 or 5 times. Okay. To know that they can make it stamina wise, to know what they're going to do during the fight. Okay. That's why they need many sparring partners because, you don't want to wear your sparring partners out. I don't think it's a duck simply because the Benavidez fight is more money. Highlight reels are deceptive. Yeah, they are deceptive. Zhang simply knows he won't make it. Yeah, Zhang. Yeah, probably Zhang, man. I think with someone older, though, they may try a different approach. You know, you got the eye of a man who killed. Damn. Okay. Highlight reels are deceptive. Well, I say this. Let's say David Benavidez, when those sparring sessions, he started revealing, he started pretty much doing a Martin McCauley, right? And he starts saying, like, hey, I got the better, if you see the sparring sessions, I got the better of Bivol, which I'm quite sure they were pretty good because I've always seen David Benavidez and his brother, to be fair, they're fast. They got some fast hands. David and Jose, they got really fast hands. That's why Jose, the older brother, the one from Creed, the star from Creed, gave Terrence Crawford problems for 12 rounds. People forget that. That was a good fight. Yeah, it was a lot of buildup. Yeah, it was a lot of animosity. Yeah, Jose called Terrence's mom a bitch. You guys remember that, and he really got pissed, and he shoved Terrence. Terrence took a swing at him. So I think, yeah, they did their thing. And of course, Terrence Crawford eventually knocked him out, but it took him 12 rounds. So the fight was pretty even, and he was catching Terrence with shots. Well, saying all that to say this, I've never seen David Benavidez, slouchy. I've never seen him slouchy. Now, I've seen him struggle in forms of not really looking like he normally looked. I've seen that. For 1 million tax free, would you go one round with Tyson in his prime or fight both Island boys? Which Island boys? You talking about them little dudes with all the tattoos? Man, I knocked them both out for 1 million tax free. Matter of fact, I don't even trust that to be tax free. So just give me a bank card to one of the banks in the Caymans. I don't know about that Mike Tyson prime stuff. He ain't gonna flatten me because people don't come back for that. Because for one, people need to really understand if you're fighting someone that's a superb athlete and they hit you with some shots like that, you may not be, and you're not in that condition. That's the only problem I have with Martin McCauley. Martin McCauley got hit just coming off the couch by somebody that's been training for 6 to 8 weeks, like Parker has. Parker was been training to fight Danny Dubois, the guy that flatlined AJ, right? So that same dude was prepared to take on one of the best dudes in the division, right? And then he catches Martin McCauley. So if Martin McCauley, he might be damaged past what we realize. That's the only problem I have about Martin McCauley. I'll do it in my breakdown, which will be sometime, this week, later this week. I'll be talking about Martin McCauley and Efe Ajagba. Yeah, you don't play with that 86/88 Mike. That dude will hit you. Because, see, it's not like he's going to hit you with one. You might think, oh, man, he'll hit me with one, I'll just go down. No, he's probably going to hit you with an uppercut, left hook, right hand, left hook, another uppercut, and then he might follow with something harder. You don't want to get hit with shots like that, especially you're not conditioned to take shots like that. You haven't had any neck strengthening, back strengthening, foundation strengthening. You ever had any of that? And you call yourself going to go in there and take on Mike Tyson from 1986? I mean, that 20-year-old Tyson, 19-year-old Tyson. The kid, for one, is not even built like a normal human being, especially at that time. That's why he peaked so fast. And you want me to go in there? You mean me right now at 45 years old? You want me to go in there with Mike Tyson that I got 26 years? Nah. Mm-mm. But the Island Boys, yeah, I'd knock them both out. I'd knock them both out. No, no, sir. Focus on your fight before you don't make it to your fight. Yep. Kurt, trilogy, priority for Bivol, legacy, money, business. After trilogy, the Bivol versus Benavidez fight 100%. Alex, I mean, I don't have any objections to the trilogy fight. I just wonder what it now means. See, it's not undisputed no more. Let's say Beterbiev goes in there and hurts Bivol. He learns, hey, let me go to his body. He can take these shots upstairs, but let me work his body a while. Let me take some air out of those tires. Let me start working Bivol's body. Let me catch him with a left hook when he moves left. Because see, Bivol will move left, then he'll move right, then he'll move left. The dude is great with the footwork. But let's say he gets hurt. Let's say he gets beat. Let's say he loses the decision this time. Let's say he gets stopped. What does that do for Beterbiev? I hate that. Beterbiev and Benavidez. But anyway, let's say that happens. Okay. Artur beats him. Well, how's that fair to Artur? I think at that point, whoever wins should then take on Benavidez because he's the last belt. Because now he's took a piece of that success that both of these guys fought for. You understand? So yeah, and the problem would be then it would probably be another Deontay Wilder situation, just in a different weight class. What do I mean? Well, now you got Al Heyman. He's back in power with a guy that has a belt in that division, and now they want to make sure everything goes the way they want it to go because our champion is just important as the unified champion. That type of stuff. So you know what I'm saying? I think that would be worse because Beterbiev, he wasn't in a situation to pick and choose. He's the guy waiting for his trilogy because he won the first fight. Bivol won the second fight. So it is what it is. Kanye was right. I haven't heard what Kanye said yet, so I have no sayings to that. I think the time is past for the best of Bivol versus Beterbiev. It might be because we seen something in our tour that it alarmed me. It did. I don't mean this in a threatening way, but even though you have the weight advantage, I would most likely beat you in a fight. Oh, okay. Well, I think fights, when you mean sparring or you mean a fight, well, there's a lot of factors in a fight. People should understand. Some fights are mostly dirty. Some fights are not really even hardly fair. You know what I mean? That's why I love boxing because believe it or not, boxing is a lot better than a fight because a fight can start over more than likely emotion. And they mostly start when one person throws the first punch. Well, if that punch lands, more than likely that fight's over unless that person can take your punch or you just don't know how to punch, you know. So, I mean, it's not I don't take it threatening. I just understand what a street fight is versus any other thing else because it's not a competition. It's anybody's world. So when somebody catches you, let's say you're at a diner or something, somebody walks in and you're sitting down. Well, someone's elevated over you and they're standing up. They have the ground. They have the height advantage over you anyway. They have leverage advantage. You know, so it is what it is. Random vlog syndrome. Nice beard. I missed you, Dad. Wonder who that is. I have no idea who that is. I don't. Okay, let's see. Cool. But no, I think Benavidez, more importantly, though, take it for what it is. I think what we need to understand about Benavidez was at that same fight and then he left, which was one of the weirdest things ever. You get invited to one of the biggest cards ever and you leave. And I think people need to understand that, like, okay, why and who made David Benavidez just up and leave saying, I have a flight to catch? How long was he planning to stay there? And if he was planning to leave early, who did he tell? Because obviously he didn't tell Turkey Al Sheikh, he didn't tell the crew, he didn't tell the committee, he didn't tell the reporters. So nobody knew he was leaving. Nobody knew David Benavidez was leaving. Nobody knew that at all. So when Ade Aladipo or whoever was there was going to interview him about what he felt and about the fight, he was already gone. So that's just, a lot of red flags, man. I think they were working on something. Craig would not be able to beat Debo without a brick or trash can laying around. But again, it's a street fight. It's anybody's world. So yeah. Yeah, that was crazy. But I mean, you have to understand Debo versus Craig. That's a big difference. Craig's like 5'9", right? He's like 5'9", 5'10", maybe. Debo's like 6'2", 6'3". Debo's like 250. Craig's like maybe 220, maybe. So he was a lot bigger. I'm 6'5", 260. I've seen some short cats who can thump. Absolutely. We were just talking about one, Mike Tyson. Mike Tyson, man, it's those short, stocky guys you got to worry about. Thick calves, short and stocky. They're all froggy. Kurt, did you watch the interview where Rowley talked on Crawford's resume? It was so random. Yeah, Rowley had me, besides his voice, Rowley made me dislike him. Because for one, he talked about everybody that he's not fighting. Rolly Romero did. I mean, and he used to talk about Devin Haney. He talked about how bad Devin Haney was and how trash he was, but it's like you're not fighting him. And like, why would you want to talk about a fighter that you're not fighting? Bivol is doing Beterbiev a solid. Biev doesn't have time on his side. The trilogy is now or never. Well, I can see that. I mean, I don't see there's nothing wrong with it, but I've seen, unfortunately for Artur, I think, dealing with someone in his prime, dealing with somebody that good, he more than likely will lose again because now Bivol has a blueprint on how to beat him because he's done it. So it's easier to do something again unless Artur has something else that he can, implement to help him in the next fight. Because at one point of that fight, I thought Artur was just going to smash him, bro. I thought Artur was just going to catch him and just beat him up and just keep hurting him throughout the fight and then eventually probably stopping him or dropping him. You know what I mean? Maybe just dropping him, not stopping him, because I think, what we learned about the first fight is Bivol's strong and tough. You know what I mean? I think people, yeah, he's a great boxer, good footwork, good hand speed, but he's also showed us something that we never knew about Bivol. He has a heart, he has a chin, he has will on top of skill. So Bivol was doing what he was doing. You know what I'm saying? Bivol showed you like, hey, I can take this, unlike everybody else has never done against this dude. Bobby Collins, appreciate the love with the super chat. Yo, salute Kurt. Who you got? Goldmouth versus Debo. Who's Goldmouth? Who's Goldmouth? Kurt, who wins? Prime Deontay Wilder versus Mark McCauley. I don't know, because see, Wilder's not going to be in the inside to get caught with shots like that unless he throws the right hand and gets caught with a right uppercut or a left hook, then another right uppercut and another left hook, then a jab, then an overhand right, because that's how Mark McCauley attacks you. He doesn't attack you. He just sets everything up from the jab, baits you in, throws that jab, and that right hand. Unfortunately for people, if you get caught with that right hand, especially Wilder in his prime, you may not have that time because you may not be down on your ass. You know, Gold mouth from life. I think Debo takes him. Most fans thought Bivol won both fights. I think Bivol will win the trilogy more decisively. I think this he has a better chance of doing so. Bivol has a better chance of beating Beterbiev, especially if Beterbiev is not ready. We thought Beterbiev would be more prepared because he didn't know where his knee was. Um, I think Beterbiev now knows he has to knock him out, so it may be kind of a similar to the second fight, but I think after he feels that he can't stop Bivol, I just think he needs to go to the body for Bivol. Drago versus Lang, probably Drago, because Drago was on steroids. Lang was just a mean black dude that got overlooked and got ducked for a long time, and he wanted his shot, and he finally got it, and he showed people what he was about. I don't think he was on steroids. I just think he was just mad. I think he was just enraged. But Drago was on the juice. Them Russians had him juiced up to the max. That's what gave Rocky eventually very bad brain damage, right? He just didn't know how to lay down, you know. Wilder never KO'd any decent persons with skill and a chin, but Carly beats any version of Wilder. Oh, Isaac, I think we overlook Luis Ortiz. I think the only problem with Luis, and it's not his fault at all. He never had the opportunity to fight guys that other people fought. See, we had the USA, we had the UK. He beat guys like Dave Allen, which is still kind of a guy that people like to watch because we know what he did to his last opponent. I don't even remember his name now. When people start showing me who did Allen beat? What was his name? I know, I know you're a meat eater, Kurt. I tried lamb chops and bacon, cooked them both together was something insanely good. Yeah, man. Fisher. There you go. Thanks, Tony. Yeah, I think that Luis Ortiz was just played because remember, but by the time he fought Wilder, he was already 40. He was 39 years, 11 months, and so many days from being 40 years old when he fought Wilder. And they cheated him in that fight. To be fair, Luis Ortiz did. That was Wilder's biggest test because Wilder never been in there with no one like that. And Luis Ortiz beat guys, that fought Vlad like Trevor Bryant, um, or was it Brian Jennings? It was Brian Jennings from Philly, right? So it was Brian Jennings. He knocked out Brian Jennings, which he was a decent contender or whatnot. Um, but before that, he was in Matchroom, and Matchroom just dicked him around. They did him wrong. You know, he didn't beat Fisher. I think he beat Fisher. I think Dave Allen beat Fisher. I think he beat him. Uh, I think he beat him. That's why they're having a rematch. If Fisher would have beat Dave Allen, that's how it's supposed to have been. Like decisively beat him. I think that we would have had a different, overall different thing. Fisher would have went on to fight guys like Fabio Wardley now, but that's not the case because they all know that he got snagged on Dave Allen. Dave Allen, the White Rhino, showed him something. you know. And Fisher, I think now he's going to get knocked out by somebody. If not Dave Allen, if he gets past Dave Allen and beats Dave Allen again, the vote is still not in on him. I mean, he's a pretty good combination fighter, but yeah, I don't think he has a chin to deal with other guys that hit harder. Luis is skilled, but he was old and doesn't have a chin. I actually think Wilder's power is overrated. Jax Mans. Kurt, let's be real. Prime Luis Ortiz would knock Deontay Wilder out. I believe that too. But guess what? Even before, on paper, he turned 40 years old. Years before that, he was with Matchroom. He was with Matchroom, and Eddie Hearn screwed him over. People don't want to hear that, but that's exactly what happened. The power of Jesus said, hi, counterpunch to you. Layla Lilly. Most people believe Dave Allen Fisher. That's why they running it back. I believe Dave wins again. Yeah. Well, he might not win again. He may get decisioned because unfortunately, this is what happens in those type of fights. You got the guy that's undefeated and he actually got beat and they gave him a decision. All the guy has to do is do better than he did last time to warrant winning again by decision. It's just like Canelo and Golovkin. Remember when Golovkin actually beat Canelo, but they called it a draw? So then what happened then? Canelo in the second fight just came forward and did a lot better than he did the first fight. And then they gave it to him. You see what I mean? So it's still a bunch of shit. You know, Kurt, Prime Luis Ortiz versus Frank Sanchez would be interesting. Yeah. I think Frank is more explosive. I think Luis Ortiz is heavier handed, but he's slower naturally. They're both 6'4" on paper. So yeah, it would be a good fight. Boots versus Stanionis this weekend. Who you got? You know what? That's a tough one. I'm going to save that for my breakdown. I'm going to do that breakdown today. So it will be tomorrow or later today when that comes out. Because I have to do some review on it. Kurt, you need to do a review on Boots versus Status. Yeah, I will. Morrison versus Wilder. I don't know. I mean, Morrison was good. Morrison can be hurt, like a lot of fighters, but I don't know. Morrison had that left hook. I just feel Wilder with his right hand will always catch anybody with a left hook. So there you go. Boots versus Stanionis. That's going to be a good fight, man. But I will share this with you guys. If Boots loses, it's his fault. Because that meant that he should have moved to 154. He should have took on Virgil Ortiz. That actually should have been on the fight of the century card. Boots versus Virgil. It shouldn't have been Israel Madrimov. And that was a garbage fight. That fight was... The fight to me, I mean, it was good throughout. Madrimov did way too much moving. I mean, he did way too much moving. And then Virgil Ortiz showed you that he can box, that he has speed, that he has punch selection. And he really impressed me in there with someone that moved like a damn mosquito, So, yeah. Apart from Usyk, who do you think is the most skilled at the moment? Skilled? Probably Parker or Caballo. Skilled? Yeah, Parker or Caballo. Then next, probably Frank Sanchez, maybe. Skilled, right? How do you see Nello versus Bud playing out? I have no idea. Bud getting hit selectively. Here's the thing. Bud is not Floyd. And I think people want I want people to know that he's not Floyd. He's not Edis Landilada. He's not a defensive-minded fighter. He's a person that he has defense. He knows offense. He's a switch hitter. He's very aggressive, but he's aggressive at different times. He does strike like a cobra. He's more like Tommy Hearns. He's a guy that's rangy. You can tell by his punches, the way he throws punches, he lands shots. You know, his punches are more like a ball with a chain attached to him. You know what I mean? He throws shots like that. Those rangy shots, they come from different angles, and that's how they hurt you. And they have power on them. But fighting someone like Canelo, his counter punches are so compact. They're so quick. They're so precise. And again, we've seen Terrence get hit with shots. You know what I mean? Especially shots and the kind of shots that Canelo throws. I'm going to go back and forth. I mean, I think, Terrence has already said he didn't like how Jermell Charlo ran from Canelo. So that means he doesn't intend on running. So that means he's going to get hit. And what happens when he gets hit? I don't know. Jolliffe skills after Usyk. Jolliffe doesn't have anything on Usyk, bro. I've seen Jolliffe. I've seen him. I've seen the way he punches. He does have the European-esque style, the Eastern European-esque style. He does. I mean, but he's not Usyk. He's not. He's longer. He's slower. He does the same movement. He's more like Alexander Volsnik than Alexander Usyk. Look at how Volsnik fights. He's more like him. And Volsnik is a good fighter. Not saying that Joliloff's not. However, I will say this. Joliloff is more like Alexander Volsnik. You know what I mean? He's just more like his movement's the same, but he doesn't get those shots off. He can't react off the pivot, off the back foot like Usyk does. He can't. I've seen this dude. I've been watching Joliloff because my peeps have been sending me shit about Joliloff the whole time. He's awkward, but I mean, I wonder where his chin is. I think the minute someone like Dubois, if he gets the opportunity to fight someone like that, Dubois, when he catches him, he's going to hurt him. That's what I think. I just think the movement is based on, his inability to take shots. I think somebody will catch him and take him on out. What do you think of Canelo's choice for the next fight? Skull, he's taking it for that belt. I think he's doing that for the belt. Skull. I mean, we're going to see him. We're going to watch them all. Jololov has a beautiful left straight. That's just about it. Yeah, well, Jololov. Yeah. Alex, he's growing. He's sprouting. But I think someone like Moses Atoma would crush him. There, I said it. And that would be a good fight, right? Golden Olympian coming in like that. Yeah. I think someone like Moses Atoma will flatline Jololov. Just for example. What do you think of Bam Bam Rodriguez? I think he's good. I think he's a good fighter. Jax Mans, Kurt, what about Filip Hrgovic versus Bakary Jololov? Jololov will give Hrgovic issues, and I know he will. He might even beat Hrgovic, but if Hrgovic can hurt Jololov, which more than likely may be the case, that might be the conclusion of the fight. However, Hrgovic, he's not as gifted as people think he is. He's mainly stiff, Now he's learning from Abel Sanchez. I think that's a good combination because I liked what he did against Joyce, because Joyce, there were times in that fight where Joyce did corner Filip Hrgovic, So it is what it is. I'm just wondering, like, how is it 20 people in here? You know what I mean? Like, it does not make sense. YouTube, you fucking suck. I swear. If you had to protect AJ's next fight, who will it be? Predict AJ's next fight. I don't know. That's like, I don't know what his next fight, Uh, I don't know. Dubois' nightmare is a southpaw that can punch. Jololoff can beat Dubois. All right. Drew Titan saying the reason Dubois quit against Usyk was because he was afraid of beating a white man in Poland. Hold on a second. Okay. Drew Titan saying the reason Dubois quit against Usyk was because he was afraid of beating a white man in Poland. Well, keep in mind, people, that's why I never really fell for that. Um, I know back in the day, years, 3 or 4 years ago, not really Drew Titan because he wasn't big enough. He just wasn't a big enough channel. I mean, he was a part of that outfit, but when you start separating skill, race, when you start deciding that, hey, it doesn't matter how good you are. What matters is what skin color you are. You're gonna miss the plot. That's the stupidest shit I ever heard of. That's the stupidest shit I ever heard of. Like stuff like that makes you wonder why people are still on. I know there's a platform for each and every person out there, but nah, because a lot of times people need to really think about what they say before they say it. That's all I can tell you, to say the least. You know, Kurt, what do you think about Justice Hooney? Oh, it's just a joke, Kurt. I guess, but I mean that sounds like something they would say. You know, School of 50 in the building. Counterpunch to you, bro. What's happening? Did you see Fury's manager claiming that he would beat Usyk if the fight was in England? I mean, I don't know. AJ didn't beat him. 5 top pound for pound. Inouye, Usyk, Crawford, Bivol. Caballo. Why not? Random vlog syndrome. I like boxing. Appreciate you. Who the hell gave Ori the name Delicious? I don't know. That was crazy. Big Kurt in the building to this day. Baber Khan. Yeah, Caballo, man. I was gonna say Tank, but I'm like Tank just got his ass whooped. Who else? Who else is there really? You know, I mean, you could say Canelo if you wanted to, but then I was tempted to say Beterbiev. What do you say about Mike Tyson? I think he's a legend. I think Mike Tyson is a legend. Kurt, who wins? Filip Hergovic versus Andre Rampage. I have no idea. I don't know who that is. Too legit to quit will take a belt. Too legit, Ajit. Mike or Muhammad? Muhammad. Your opinion on why Crawford ranks so high if he hasn't fought anyone besides Spence? Who said he hasn't fought anybody besides Spence? I don't buy into narratives. I just know what he's already done. See, okay, Chris, let me ask you a serious question. What was Errol Spence's best win? Who was his best win? Answer the question. Who was Spence's best win? Okay, so yeah, very good question. So the thing is, you ask, who is Errol Spence's best win? What? Okay, guys, let me ask everyone. Who did Errol Spence beat? Well, that was his primary pinnacle win. Spence's best win was Porter. Okay. All right. Now, I agree on that. He beat Porter. He went 12 rounds with Porter and he dropped Porter with a flash knockdown in the 11th round. Okay. Very good fight, very competitive fight. So was Porter Crawford. So was Porter Crawford. The only difference was Crawford stopped Porter, made Kenny Porter throw in the towel in the 10th round. Okay. And it was based on what they told Crawford. Crawford was told, "You're down." So Crawford goes out there and says, "Okay, let me end this show." So he ended the show. He beat Crawford. I mean, he beat Porter. He knocked out Porter. He made Kenny do something that Kenny has never done. Porter's never quit. Porter's not a quitter. None of that. So Terrence Crawford did it because he wanted to. He chose to. Errol Spence never had that choice. Errol Spence has never been at 140. Errol Spence has never been at 135. Errol Spence has never been anywhere besides 147. He's trying to campaign now, I guess, to go to 154, but at the same time, I mean, he's not there. Ugas was a good fight too. Well, Ugas, though, was a you think about that fight. That fight was kind of weird. Now, people say Crawford beat a Porter that was already talking about retirement. Well, he beat Porter that was beating. That was a lot of people thought he was winning. So, can we please cancel the Eubank Ben clown show? Nah, it's gonna happen, and then whoever loses is going to have to face the loss because it's gonna hurt. But something tells me that Khan versus Ben was probably going to end in disqualification. It's going to be a weird thing. Kurt, your opinion. Haney versus Garcia 2. Revenge? I don't know. I mean, for Haney's sake, I think they're both a bunch of dickheads. I think Ryan is on drugs, and I think Devin Haney just made the wrong decisions, and he's just not that good. I mean, I'm just keeping it real. I mean, I don't really care for any of those fighters now. And I love Bill Haney. I know him. I respect him, but he decided to sue Ryan Garcia when he did that move. He lost a lot of respect for people. People booed Devin Haney. Now I know a lot of people have their feelings about him. Ryan Garcia. My problem with him is, you know, um, he's just a cheater, and I think he's a little racist. You know, and he let people know he was a little racist based on the times we are in. I think he had the platform, and I think he had the opportunity of that window, to let everyone know how he felt about certain people. You know what I mean? Like, I don't care how drunk and high you are. I mean, if you're drunk and high, you're just talking the way you normally talk. I mean, I just don't really care for either one of those fighters. Devin Haney should have beat Ryan Garcia based on the skills he's supposed to have, and he didn't. Ryan Garcia beat the shit out of him. Ryan Garcia was cheating because he had whatever in his system. I don't even care at this point. And once he found out that everything was coming, was closing down on him, he went the Tyson Fury route. But look at Tyson Fury though. Tyson Fury didn't start talking about a group of people just because he came up. you know, but I mean, it is what it is. I don't really, I really lost a lot of respect for both fighters because I thought Ryan was better than that. I thought he was. I thought he was better than that um, morally, and I thought Devin Haney was better than that skillfully. So, so when someone is high or drunk, they speak the truth. Yeah, he spoke. He said, "F those people, f those people." I don't give about f about all of them. Let George Floyd and did all this. I'm like, George Floyd was killed over 5 years ago, and you're still talking about George Floyd. So that had to really be on your heart. And then you call yourself a Christian. You call yourself a Christian man talking that way, bro. People can miss me with all that. I don't have respect for them. Like I barely even cover. I let the showbiz do that. Let everybody go to that channel and let everybody talk about what Ryan is doing and what Ryan did. What Ryan, I went through that. Let's get past that. Like, no, man. Like people are just showing that assholes. People are just showing who they are. And I just, and I have to understand, like I could keep it boxing, but understand I can't not talk about Ryan, but then yet people think it's cool for me to talk about the LDBC because they're doing the same shit. It's favoritism due to a certain race of people or your dislike for other people. That's what make people like you. You know what I'm saying? So you can't have one without the other. Kurt, will you ever cover a Ryan fight? Yeah, I'll cover a Ryan fight. I mean, I'll cover it. It's a fight. It's a mainstream fight. It's just I'm just letting you guys know not everything that they do, I don't cover. Can we have Roy Jones Jr. speaking on current state of heavyweights? Yeah, we can. We sure can. Bill Keaveney in the building, coming in with that love. I appreciate you, man. And heavyweights. I'm gonna tell y'all something. Y'all don't sleep on Zane. Zane, he old, but he huge. He old, but he powerful. But he can only go 6 rounds. But sometimes that's all you need. He can be George Foreman for 6 rounds. Shout out to George. But anyway, Caballero, he's a tree chopping mother sucker. He gonna get everybody in there. He gonna chop them. The way you beat Caballero, don't get your ass in there with Caballero because Caballero, he gonna give them all hell. AJ, everybody, we seen him how he boxed and moved yesterday. He looked pretty good, but don't worry about it. He need to worry about getting his mind right. He need to get out them silk pajamas because if he don't get out them silk pajamas, he gonna get his ass beat again. Danny Dubois, I think they need to worry about him. They need to take him to some kind of hospital or need to bring him somewhere earlier because he talking about everything flaring up and his nose flaring up. He might got some VD or something. I don't know what's going on with him. They gave that boy some pussy not too long ago, so I think that might be the problem with him because he might have just first got some snatch. He went down to Brazil. You sometimes you just got to get a little shot after another shot after another shot from going there. I know because I did it all. But let me tell you, probably the best down there is Usyk. But Usyk getting old. I remember when I was that old soul and I was really whooping everybody and I wanted to take on everybody, but I made a mistake. I had to try to go too far down. See, and then you go too far down, you lose your muscle mass. You lose your muscle mass, somebody gonna whoop your ass. So I think Usyk, he need to stay where he at. He need to fight whoever he need to fight. He need to whoop the boy again, and then get on out of Dodge, and you help me run and chase chickens, and then he can get better. Even messing with me, cause I'm Roy Jones. See, I was the fighter of the decade in the '90s. Man, the fight Pacquiao, he was the fighter of the decade in the 2000s, early. So let me tell you, this is what's gonna happen. I think these guys are the best fighters in the world, and everybody else behind them. Boom, that's Roy Jones Jr. But and this definitely something Roy would say. Yeah, Roy is a trip, man. How spontaneous is this? Yeah, I mean, it just, dude, yeah, Roy, man, it's crazy, man. Man, you welcome. Okay, let's see. Yeah, nice impression. Appreciate you, Chris Rodriguez. So, okay, back to you what you were saying about Terrence Crawford. Terrence Crawford took on Yoriokas Gamboa at 135. Yoriokas Gamboa was undefeated. He was the golden Olympian from Cuba that defected from Cuba, and that whooped everybody before he stepped in there with Terrence Crawford, which made Terrence Crawford the guy to look at 135 at that time. Okay. Meanwhile, at 135, he's doing this thing. But what was going on at 140? Well, you had Danny Garcia there, which was undefeated. You had Lucas Matisse there. You had Victor Postol there. You had Ndongo there. You had all these fighters that were there. Then what did Terrence do? Terrence then left 135 and then went to 140. And what did he do? He knocked out Ngannou with a body shot. Danny Garcia went to 147. He then beat Victor Postol, which at the time, Victor Postol was being trained by who? The great Freddie Roach. And he beat him decisively. Okay. And then he became the undisputed light welterweight champion. Okay. Then, when he got all those belts, then he went to 147. And that's when he ran into politics of the game, because at that time you had Keith Thurman, which had the WBC and the WBA. And he got that WBC from Danny Garcia, remember? And then you had Errol Spence, which got the the IBF from Kell Brook. Kell Brook, okay, just fought Golovkin, and he got beat by Golovkin, which Kell Brook gave Errol Spence a good fight, but he was still damaged nonetheless. So, eventually Errol Spence, caught up with him, chopped him down. Okay, so there you go. Then Terrence Crawford couldn't fight those guys. He fought the guy that beat Manny Pacquiao, right? Manny Pacquiao got beat by Jeff Horn and went 12 rounds. Terrence Crawford stopped him in round 9, okay? Becomes the WBO. Then he fights Amir Khan. Then he fights Kell Brook. Then he fights a couple other people. He fights Sean Porter and beats Sean Porter. And then by that time, Errol Spence had all the belts. So he was the last remaining guy that people had to worry about, because he was that guy that everyone supported on that end, on the Al Heyman end. Okay, he was the Showtime end. He was that guy that was selling out stadiums. So they had vested interest in Spence. Okay, so he was that last guy. So there was no other guy that Terrence Crawford could go through. So when you talk about, who's he's fought, for one, they wouldn't allow him to fight a lot of people. And I think that made some bitterness in Terrence Crawford, because now Terrence Crawford, he fought Madrimov at 154, which I guess is cool, but I wasn't really too impressed on the performance. However, Madrimov now has proven to be what? A difficult fighter to fight, right? Because you ask Victor Ortiz the same damn thing. Victor Ortiz will tell you, no, he runs around too damn much. So, he's one of those guys that's more like a mosquito that makes it more difficult than challenging. Okay? So, how do you remember all these little things? You should be a matchmaker. I'm just saying, because I was there. I watch this box. I follow boxing. I don't have to look it up at a library somewhere or at a bookstore. I was there when it happened. I covered these fights when it happened. You know what I mean? Because a lot of these fights, especially with Crawford, I remember the fights, bro. But Virgil, it's good. Hey, bud, I love you. You're the best. Sorry about the other day. You were just having a great night, but hey, keep having a weed drink. We all need it. Your wisdom is the best, bro. Gav, appreciate you, brother. No problem. But it's shake back week. Shake back week. You're awesome. It takes as take that as a compliment. Appreciate you, man. Pac-Man Prime version, dangerous fighter. Yeah, but understand, Freddie Roach didn't want Manny Pacquiao to fight Terrence Crawford. He said it's the wrong style. And in fact, I think one of the reasons that Freddie Roach didn't want Manny to fight Terrence was probably the same reason Pacquiao got knocked out December 8th, 2012 by Juan Manuel Marquez. Counters. Because everybody knows Terrence Crawford's a counterpuncher. You know, that's how he knocked out Sean Porter. Sean Porter ain't never been stopped. But he was going to embarrass Sean because he was going to stop Sean in a bad way. And his dad knew it. Like, look, no. And then guess what? That was his last fight, wasn't it not? So he retired him. He retired Sean Porter. So it is what it is. Kurt, Usyk can't say he beat all the three kings. He has one more left, and his name is Deontay. Until he doesn't beat him, he hasn't accomplished all the three kings like he said he was going to do. Babar Khan. Wilder has to show that he's worthy of the kingship. He has to show that he's worthy of getting those belts. He has to start knocking people out. I don't know how he's going to do it, but he has to do it. Because, I mean, Wilder had his opportunities. He had his opportunities. He just got beat by everybody. Joseph Parker, Zhilei Zhang. You know, now he's fighting Herndon. He has a fight, in the mix with Ngannou. So I don't think he has time. And Usyk, you know, he's just trying to get what he got last year because the IBF did what they always do to most of their fighters, most of their champions. You know, they strip them. Wilder, I sent as good as people thought. It wasn't as good. I mean, Wilder never was good. I told you guys when I was doing that live, Wilder never said how good he was. He just said he'll knock you out. He believed in his power, not his skill. Wilder isn't worthy of an Usyk fight. I mean, he's not worthy. He needs to redeem himself. That's why Herndon is a tune-up fight. So we're trying to push this guy. We just need to enjoy where Wilder is with great anticipation to see if he is still up for the sport of boxing. Okay? I consider Parker more of a king than Wilder. Parker, in fact, was a champion at that time. If you can remember, he was a champion at that time. Because Parker was one of those guys, which was a king, because he was a champion, right? So I think we get confused with what Lennox Lewis created. Lennox Lewis created the whole idea of Wilder, because he was friends with Wilder. Wilder, you know, he mentored Wilder. Tyson Fury, British. Anthony Joshua, British. So Lennox Lewis created this whole, hey, the three kings. You know what I mean? And then really, to be real with you, it could be Wilder, Joshua, Parker. Why? Because Parker had the WBO. He beat Andy Ruiz for that vacant title, if you can remember. And a lot of people thought that was a close fight, but he still beat him. So he's still a king. Okay? But Usyk hasn't fought him either. So if he does fight Joseph Parker, I think we can replace the Tyson Fury for the Joseph Parker. But he already fought Tyson Fury, which was the WBC champion, because he beat Deontay Wilder. Do you see where I'm going with this? Because you're saying, oh, well, the three kings, what made Wilder a king? The WBC. Well, who beat him? Tyson Fury. Well, he beat Tyson Fury. Okay, so he was that current WBC king. So there you go. Lennox Lewis has always had a chip on his shoulder. Well, I mean, AJ came in and got the notoriety that he's seen that he once wanted. He wanted to be loved by the UK peeps like Anthony Joshua was. That's why he was like, I think Joshua should go to the U.S., man. Yeah, I think he should go to the U.S. Yeah, he has the crowd, the UK crowd, you know, spoiling him and pampering him. Claudia's pupil has failed him and launched onto Malik Abdu, the snake oil salesman. Kurt, who you got in the Bivol trilogy? Probably Bivol, I mean, you know. I like Beterbiev. I like the idea of you crushing everybody to your destruction. 20-0, 20 knockouts. You know, then 21-0. Now he's 21-1, right? And 20. All right, so it is what it is. Following you now. Chris Rodriguez, welcome, man. I appreciate you, man. I will be going live tomorrow. So we got one more minute to Counterpunch. That is a straight hour. Bivol all the way, peppering Beterbiev with those jabs. Yeah, I want to see a knockdown. Can I get a knockdown the next fight? That's what I want to see. I don't care who does what to someone. I want to see a knockdown. I would hopefully Beterbiev gets a knockdown because I think that's what he's accustomed to, you know? And I think all that moving from Bivol, he was moving like Bruce Lee, like Muhammad Ali, and he was taking that jab, right hand, jab, right hand, move to the left, move to the right, circle out, spin out, duck, dodge, dip, dodge, and duck, right? He could, look, that was giving him a headache. And, you know, he's 40 years old. You know? This dude's in my age bracket trying to keep up with Bivol, and he's 32 years old. You know? If Wilder was starting over, who would you think would be the right coach? I have no idea. I have no idea because I don't know if who would want to deal with that. Javen Sugar Hill, Virgil Hunter, somebody I think that really cares. But if Wilder can't pay attention or if he can't follow instruction, it's going to be a hard night for him. Seriously. Yeah, Wilder's problem is he doesn't listen. Yeah, I mean, I think everybody calling Malik Scott bad. Malik Scott told people, he's like, look, you guys ain't going to pin this on me. I told Wilder, keep that left up when throwing that right hand. Okay? He didn't do it. He got caught, you know? But you guys have been great. Tomorrow, same time, well, which would be 12 noon. All right, so come back tomorrow. I will set it way earlier to get you guys prepared to come in. I'm trying to get the sweet spot of when to do these lives so everybody can be present. You know, I know YouTube doesn't really send out notifications no more, but if you do too much content, they're not trying to, you know, up the ante. So, you know, no, I don't think he's still with Ben, man. I think he's with, I know he's training with Anthony Chill Wilson right now. So he just was recently with him. You guys check out the videos because I've done about 4 or 5 of them while I was sleeping. So those were popping out. 6 p.m. in the UK. Okay, we will try. So 6 p.m. in the UK is 12 o'clock noon. So let's see if that's the right time. If not, I'll just go a little earlier because I think like 3 or 4 o'clock my time is probably like 9 or 10 you guys' time. So, you know, we'll try all of these times to see when everybody's present. So, you know, it's good to see everybody here. God bless you all. Be safe. Enjoy this Wednesday. And everyone has been counterpunched. 7 p.m., not 6 p.m., bro. Okay, so that's 1 p.m. here then. Because I'm Central, not Eastern. All right. Peace.